Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today is Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 21, The Return of the Archons. Friends, I really need this. I need this. I need to go. This is the crew. The crew. I need Kirk, Spock, Scotty, Bones, Uhura, and Sulu. Beam me up. I've had a time outside of all of this. I really need to escape into Star Trek, the original series. Please join me, my friends. Good, bad, or indifferent. We're going to have another adventure with the crew, capital T, capital C. My friends, if you do me a favor, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. You'll be alerted next time we go live with any Star Trek, the original series, or any of our sci-fi offerings. And of course, if you'd like those early or in their full-length format, the link to the Patreon is in the description. But all that is then, my friends, and this is now, thank God. It's time for us to once again return to that beauty, the Enterprise, and her fantastic crew. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And thank God, away we go. Oh, cold open in colonial times?
O'Neill, we've got to keep going. Come on, get up.
Oh, Sulu.
It's no use, Mr. Sulu. Look, there's one of them. There's another one.
Well, they seem to be moving slow.
Transporter room. Lock onto Sulu on O'Neill. Beam up immediately.
We've got to make a run for it. We can't just stand here.
Well, they're taking their time.
Beam us up any minute. Run, I tell you. We got to get out of here. You know what they're capable of. O'Neill.
O'Neill, you're dead. Oh, they did something to Sulu. Okay, so O'Neill is the other person down there. I don't know what his designation is because he wasn't wearing a uniform. Look at that acting, George.
Lieutenant O'Neill, where is he? Paradise. Paradise.
We're in the open, so Jim can tell us about the Final Frontier. You know what? See, George is a stage actor, and so and he refers to himself as a stage actor above TV or movies or anything like that. And so it shows itself so much when he's able to really tear into stuff. And with that one, I always say that when you're allowed to give a stage actor, especially during that time, you're allowed to give a stage actor the leeway to deliver lower volume, quieter, more subtle lines, that they always resonate so strongly because, you know, normally on the stage, especially during that time, projection was sort of paramount to everything before the advent of some of the microphones and audio amplifiers. And I just love whenever there's that quiet delivery. That quiet delivery is so choice whenever you have stage actors being able to do it. The Return of the Archons.
Captain's logs.
I don't remember him being here the first time, but whatever.
Trying to find some trace of the starship Archon that disappeared here 100 years ago. Mr. Sulu has returned. His condition requires I beam down with an additional search detail.
Spock's got the hooded outfit on. Where's the flood, Jim? Who's that dickhead?
If everybody on this planet is like him. Let's go.
I love the exteriors when they use them. I'm sure it was an absolute pain in the ass to do, but I love it.
You'll be strangers.
You be right.
Got a place to sleep it off yet?
Why do they sound like they're from Mad Max?
But you'll have to hurry. It's almost the red hour.
It's like the Purge.
My father'll be glad to put you up, though.
Great.
It's right over there.
But now it's the red hour, so we almost murder one another. I was joking. Oh, that guy just brained one of the... Was she biting or kissing Kirk? Dear God. Okay, the kissing. Okay, so this is just like wild, like, you know, orgy lust type shit. Hey, what's going on?
Sorry to break in on you like this. We didn't expect that kind of a welcome.
Welcome. You are strangers?
Oh, that guy's from the cage.
You came for the festival?
Yes.
Then how come you here?
I think he's from the cage too. I think the two in the back were
It's festival. It's the will of Landru.
Landru.
We heard that you might have rooms for us.
We'd be looking for rooms.
Do you say that Landru is not everywhere?
No, of course not. It's simply that they may have different ways.
Yeah, that guy talking right now, different ways guy, was the fake survivor in the cage that was like the main leader of the group of fake survivors.
She is in festival, as you should be.
And that guy, I'm pretty sure, was the main Telosian.
Strangers are not of the body. You will see.
But Hago,
I'd be sorry.
I'd like to hear more about this festival. And Landru.
I thought he was going to jump out the window.
Landru. You ask.
They don't know about Landru. Everyone seems to be having fun. Fun? I mean, the guy that got hit by the stick.
Festival! Festival!
I love it. I love it. Everybody, we need a sequence of reaction shots. 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Mr. Lindstrom, correlate all that you've seen with any other sociological parallels, if any. Mr. Spock,
The door works.
when we leave here tomorrow morning, I want to have a plan of action.
Well, O'Neill is still lost here, so I'm very curious to see. So how long, I'm assuming. Oh my God, they're still going at it. It's the Hill Valley clock. So it's 12 hours of like absolutely just completely insane behavior.
Oh, no, it's all over now. It's all over now, child.
Can they not control themselves?
It's all right. It's all over.
Allow this stranger to take you.
Then you're not of the body. You couldn't be.
Oh, that's. How about a little bit more explanation on said body? How horrific, though. I mean, to be forced to do that.
He is the one. He mocked the lawgivers. I heard him.
no, Hago. It was a jest.
Tamar, stand clear.
Dart gun. Dart gun.
You attack the body.
Is he dead, or did they just like?
You will be absorbed.
I wonder if that's Ted Cassidy's voice again.
We're not going anywhere.
It is the law. You must come.
It's not my law. That works.
They're not prepared to deal with outright disobedience. How did you know?
Everything we've seen here so far seems to indicate some sort of compulsive, involuntary stimulus to action.
Yeah, they don't know how to respond to disobedience.
I will rephrase. You are ordered to accompany us to the absorption chambers.
No. Let me restate this.
Why did you kill that man?
Out of order.
Oh, she did. They did kill him.
It is the word of Landru.
You tell Landru.
Fuck off. Give me your fucking stick. Spock, break that.
You
It's merely a hollow tube, Captain. No mechanism.
Really?
They're communing. We have time. Come with me.
Where to?
To a place I know. You'll be safe there. But we must hurry. Landru will come.
Grab your daughter. Grab your daughter. They know that you're not working with Landru, buddy. It's only going to take these guys a moment to reboot or get new orders. And if they're willing to kill with a hollow fucking tube, then let's all walk very slowly.
Morning, friends.
Morning, insane person.
Let's hurry, we haven't much time.
Let's hurry.
What is it?
Landru. He's summoning the body.
So, if it's telepathy, why isn't the father... I don't think we have a name for yet. Oh, they are picking up
Lasers
weapons,
on stun.
everybody. Just stun them all.
Which way, Roger?
Perhaps through there.
Reger, is that Reger? Jim has plenty of experience with fighting this type of fight from Arena. if everyone's moving as slowly as this, then you're all right.
Phasers on stun. Whitefield, fire.
I like the wide field. Light them up. Yeah, Landry doesn't know how to protect their people.
Lieutenant O'Neill.
O'Neill.
Bring him along.
But I tell you, he's one of them. When he wakes, Landro will find us through him. Leave him there. He's our enemy. He's been absorbed.
Well, why isn't he absorbed then? You can't leave one of your crew members. Yeah. Put a blindfold around him. He's unconscious when you brought him here, so even if they can ping his location, well, if they can ping his location, you're pretty screwed. But if they have to, like, use his eyes to see, blindfold him. Oh, this is some Hogan's Hero shit here.
Comes from a time before Landru.
Before Landru?
The Archon. 100 years isn't that... I mean, it's long, but...
Mostly strong power generations, Captain, near here, but radiating in all directions.
He'll be coming around soon, Captain. He must not.
I'll keep him out.
When the first Archons came, they were free, out of control. Many were killed. Many more were absorbed. When he regains consciousness, Landru will find us through him.
What does absorbed mean?
How are you organized?
In threes. Myself, Tamar, who's dead now, and one other.
Who?
I don't know.
Yeah, don't say.
Tamar was my contact.
Give me a decision, Captain. He's coming out of it.
Keep him knocked out.
He must not regain consciousness. He'll destroy us all. He's of the body.
I know Kirk wants answers, but...
Give him a shot.
Yeah, we go.
Keep him asleep.
God, Kirk is such a good captain.
Some of us escaped the directives. Not many, but a few.
The Archons. Tell me about them.
Landru had pulled them down from the skies.
Their ship.
Those power readings you took, are they...
Powerful enough to destroy a starship? Affirmative.
So they took the Archon out of the sky.
Captain, we're under attack. There are heat beams of some kind coming up from the planet's surface.
Status report.
Scotty in the chair.
Unless we can get those beams off us so we can use our engines, they're due to hit atmosphere in less than 12 hours.
Keep your shield up. Do everything you can to maintain orbit.
I've tried the emergency bypass circuits, but they haven't been effective.
Captain, sensor beams. Very strong. We're being probed. In this direction.
You all here? Is this Landru? I'm here to take over Ghostbusters Manhattan.
Projection, Captain. Unreal.
But beautiful, Mr. Spock, with no apparatus at this end.
You have come as destroyers. You bring an infection.
What, free will?
You have come to a world without hate, without fear.
What are you talking about? I saw the red hour.
Landru seeks tranquility.
Okay.
We mean you no harm. Ours is a mission of peace and goodwill.
The good must transcend the evil.
I'm getting a lot of hints and notes of Miranda.
And in your submergence into the common being of the body, you will find contentment and fulfillment.
It's like they're psychologically euphoric Borg. Is it affecting Spock? Oh shit, it's affecting Spock too. Damn. Wow, Kirk held out a little bit longer than Spock. That's impressive.
The shore party has been taken by the creature called Landru.
Shore party. I always say away team, and I don't think that's a term yet. I need to start saying shore party. I enjoy these episodes so damn much. It's amazing. Talk about buried treasure for me. I mean, this really is. This is must-see TV for me now. There's nothing on right now. I'm watching The Expanse, which I absolutely love, and Lower Decks, which I absolutely love. Those series, it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. God, it's such great shit. I wonder if Spock is more susceptible to it. I mean, it's telepathy, right? And so there's, you know, the mind meld and things like that.
He was gone when I woke up, along with the other guard and Mr. O'Neill.
I should say they'd been here and been removed.
Or O'Neill took them.
Where is here?
Some type of dungeon.
Are you armed?
All the phasers are gone, I checked.
First off, we need to note all of my phasers are gone. Not my phaser is gone. All of them are gone.
Stronger they might have killed. As it was, they merely rendered us unconscious.
Enough analysis. Let's think of a way to get out of here.
That's what analysis is, Jim.
Their reaction to your defiance was remarkably similar to the reaction of a computer when fed insufficient or contradictory data.
Like a logic loop?
Quite human, Captain. Simply that all the facts are not yet in. There are gaps.
I would listen to every single word Spock said. I'm not sure he's ever been wrong. He might have been not 100% right. I'm not sure he... Oh, no.
Oh, hello, friend.
Oh, no.
Don't you know me?
We all know one another. In Landru.
DeForest Kelley has such a quiet delivery.
Speak very strangely, friend. Are you from away?
You do remember?
I be from the valley.
He remembers. He knows and he watches.
I like this euphoric shit. I bet you the actors love this. Creepy's easy to nail. Just have to be a little off in your delivery and everything.
Come.
No.
Then you will die.
Eh.
Been corrected, Captain. Better go.
They've received an update. Like the capelet trench that hooded robes that Spock's wearing. I dig that shit big time.
Happiness is to all of us. Blessed by Landru.
Okay. Oh shit, that was a hell of a cut.
I am Marplan. It is your hour. Happy communing.
With thanks.
Is this the third guy? This is the third guy. You've been relieved. Or I'm sorry, you be relieved.
Well?
Remember.
Impossible. He's under extremely powerful control.
So it's like hypnotic suggestion? Not like remapping of brainwaves, so it's reversible.
Well, this is simply ridiculous. A bunch of Stone Age characters running around in robes.
And apparently commanding powers far beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, the illusory stuff's problematic. No, I mean, not illusory, hypnotic stuff is problematic. Get something in the door there when it closes. Okay, so I was wrong. This isn't the third unknown guy. Jim has been absorbed. Spock? You're up, buddy. What do you got?
Joy to you, friend. Peace and contentment will fill you. You will know the peace of Landru.
It's not going to work on Spock. I pray to God. Spock, hey, I don't know if you've been in this position before, Mr. Spock, but it's all on your shoulders. Oh, God. This crew. Leonard Nimoy is such money. Excuse me. Leonard Nimoy be money.
My name is Marplan. I was too late to save your first two friends. They have been absorbed. Beware of them.
I knew it. Marklon, right? That's what he said, right?
He is unharmed, unchanged.
Pretending.
We have been awaiting your return.
We are not Archons, Marplan.
Whatever you may call yourselves.
Free us.
Where is Rager?
He will join us. He is immune to absorption.
How? How is he immune?
Joy be with you. Peace and contentment.
I like the smile Spock has to paint on for this.
Landru, I am formulating a theory, Captain.
He is sneaking up behind you.
You speak in strange whispers. This is not the way of Landru.
Yes, it is. Are you not of the way of Landru? Turn that right around on him.
Blessed be the body, and health to all of its parts.
What's going to happen when Bones needs a drink? Which is like an hour ago.
All parts working in unison.
And when something unexplained happens.
Monkey wrench.
Mr. Spock, the plug must be pulled.
Sir.
Landru must die.
Well?
A prime directive of non-interference.
That refers to a living, growing culture. Do you think this one is?
Ooh, we had a mention of the Prime D.
Joy to you all, friends.
It is the gift of land.
Here's a bottle of whiskey. I be needing to drink this. I'm going to be doing that all day.
I brought your signaling devices. You may need them.
What we really need is more information about Landry.
Just don't say the name. It's like Voldemort.
Doc, I don't want to hurt you.
Traitors!
But I will. Bones, I don't want to hurt you, but I will. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Isn't that somewhat old-fashioned?
Is he making fun of the fact that Spock punched him out instead of did the pinch?
In this building?
Yes.
I mean, I understand your fear, but take your shot here.
How's Mr. Sulu?
He's peaceful enough, but he worries me.
Put a guard on him.
On Sulu?
That's an order.
Yeah, if Landru can compel him somehow, it could really F up the ship. That's a hell of a good idea, Jim. I didn't even think of that.
He's still alive. He's here now. He sees, he hears.
Could we be less cryptic?
You said you wanted freedom. It's time you learned that freedom is never a gift. It has to be earned.
Yep, has to be won.
Help me!
All right. It's up to you.
I guess that punch was old-fashioned. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. Spock's punch. We have to identify that because he had the option to do the nerve pinch, and he decided to go for a haymaker.
Open it.
But this is Landru.
Open it.
That's not working for you, Jim. It's like a ride at Disney World. You may now enter the Haunted Mansion.
We are the Archons. We come to speak. We are the Archons. We want to talk to you.
I was just getting my hair done. I am Vigo. Tell me you don't see it.
For the good of the body, you must die.
That's our argument too. Except
All who saw you, all who know of your presence here, must be excised.
okay. So you're gonna kill everybody. Point of order.
A projection.
Yeah, it's just a recorded message. It's not interactive.
Let's have a look at the projector.
Nice. Didn't even say let's fire. Ooh, here we go. My God, is this my first evil computer? Have I had an evil computer? There's so many in Lower Decks, I forget if there's been one here.
Your devices have been neutralized. I am Landru.
We got that.
Landru died 6,000 years ago.
I am Landru. I am he. All that he was, I am.
Okay. This is the ghost in the machine type of thing.
The good of the body is the prime directive.
Good of the body, Captain. That's the key.
How about a logic loop? The good of the body doesn't need Landru. It'll kill itself.
Then I put it to you that you have disobeyed the prime directive. You are harmful to the body.
The body is...
Logic circle.
Not necessary, Captain. They have no guidance. Possibly for the first time in their lives.
It's a pretty big assumption there, Spock.
But there is evil.
Then the evil must be destroyed. That is the prime directive. And you are the evil.
It can't...
I live.
You are the evil. The evil must be destroyed.
I was gonna say, yeah, it can't figure this out.
Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me.
It's kind of sad, but... Everybody drops dead.
Well, Marplon, you're on your own now. I hope you're up to it.
Get fucked.
Get rid of those robes. And if I were you, I'd start looking for another job.
That was the most brutal sequence.
The heat rays have gone, Captain. And Mr. Sulu's back to normal.
Hey! It's me!
Let's go see how the others are doing. Marplon can finish up here.
Let's just leave him here in this rubble of their civilization.
Sociologist Lindstrom is remaining behind with a party of experts who will help restore the planet's culture to a human form.
Oh, nice. Okay. I was an a-hole there.
I prefer the concrete. The graspable, the provable.
You'd make a splendid computer, Mr. Spock.
Thank you.
That is very kind of you, Captain.
I was gonna say, never an insult.
How often mankind has wished for a world as peaceful and secure as the one Landru provided.
Yes, and we never got it. Just lucky, I guess.
Nice. Joseph. Again, we got another Joseph one. Joseph Pevney. Last time we saw him was the arena. I always say the arena. It's arena. Great episode. God, I love these. These are just absolutely bombs for my soul. It's just so soothing to watch this stuff. My friends, we just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 21, Return of the Archons. And the only thing left to do is to talk about it. All right, my friends, we just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 21, Return of the Archons. Again, I mean, I sound like a broken record whenever I talk about these. It's very rare that I dislike an episode. Let's be very fair. It's very rare. If I dislike something, I just don't talk about it too much. And there's been several episodes for the original series in comparison to the others that I've liked less than. But that's to be expected when you've got episodes like Balance of Terror and things like that. But I can say this with 100%, honesty. There hasn't been one that I haven't enjoyed. In some respect, I've learned from it or something like that. Now, with all that being said, I actually really did like Return of the Archons. I thought it was an incredibly cool premise. There were some assumption leaps made there by Spock, especially, like, oh, this seems like a computer. I'm not really sure we had enough, kind of data at that point to basically say this is how a computer would behave. But this is Spock. Spock's going to make those a much faster way than it would be for all of us because his mind is ridiculous. So it was a really cool understanding. I think we could have used a little bit more setup as to what we were doing because all of a sudden, we just had an away team. We had a shore team? Shore party. Yeah, they have a shore party, not an away team, a shore party. And so the shore party said, all of a sudden we saw O'Neill and Sulu down there and then but they brought it back up to speed. And I was a little confused as to why we were doing certain things before we, actually jumped into it. But it was good. It was good. And one thing I will say about this is, and I understand why they're doing this, because it's very necessary. If you have the full weight of the Enterprise in play, it really makes a lot of complex situations a lot easier. You've got all the computers, you've got the firepower, the personnel, you've got everything that the Enterprise has. It makes the shore party, it makes their lives a lot easier when they can, call for reinforcements, call for equipment, show force, the Enterprise is a hell of an asset. I mean, an incredible asset. So I've noticed that a lot of times whenever that is something that could have helped them, they take the Enterprise out of play. Oh, our shields are up. We can't use the shields. We had that in several different instances now. Obviously, we just had it with Return of the Archons, but we also had it whenever, in Arena, which is another Joseph Pevney directed episode where Sulu had to take them away because the Gorns, the Gorn ship was attacking and all that stuff. And we had to make sure that we were able to, save the Enterprise and thus taking the Enterprise out of the situation as an asset that Kirk could have used for the ground fight that he was having. I understand. You can't have the Enterprise in play because it makes the situation a lot easier. With that being said, one negative little critique I will give this is they're using that device and that convention a lot. And again, I don't know how you get away from that. I mean, it's something that you're going to sort of have to do. It's almost like the transporters are down. We can't use the Enterprise. There's a lot of like things that they just kind of cookie cutter throw in there for the reason why they can't leave planet or they can't go to the planet or they can't use the Enterprise or they can't drop the deflector screens or and again, I understand exactly why they're doing that because if you could do that, the episode's 10 minutes long and the situation's resolved without any major conflict. I always think those are the things that we don't see. Those are all the missions that were easily taken care of by the Enterprise or transporters or things like that. They didn't become missions or adventures. They were just daily activities for the Enterprise. I mean, I understand it. And it's certainly not a nitpicky thing. It is nitpicky, but it's certainly not a critique that ruins an episode for me. This one had a lot into it that I thought was, it gave the actors a lot of fun. I think I mentioned it during the reaction. Whenever they're able to do this kind of like euphoric over the top type of stuff, I'm sure it was super duper fun for the actors because there's really no way to screw that up. You know, you can, your delivery can be bad, or, you can, I mean, I guess there's a possibility of going too over the top where you're like, I don't know, doing some type of a hamming it up of this euphoria. But euphoria in and of itself with this kind of metered delivery, I'm sure it was super fun because it probably wasn't that difficult for everyone, which would lead to a kind of a more upbeat set. You're not worried about your performance. Everybody's doing the same thing, so it's that in and of itself was kind of interesting to see. Also, I bet you that the stuntmen, the stunt professions in Hollywood during that time were licking their chops when they got the call order for this episode. Okay, we need a dozen stunt people, 2 dozen, because that initial scene with the Red Hour, people going in and out of windows, punching each other, doing flips and stuff, that was great. I really enjoyed that type of stuff because it shows a commitment to just making sure that they get the theme and the attitude and kind of like the atmosphere of the planet down. I mean, they could have, that was, I mean, believe it or not, every time that somebody goes through that glass, that requires the setting up of everything. If it plays wrong, then we've got, to redo it, and it costs money. Exterior shooting, you're on location. I'm sure it was, it was a lot, but at the same time, you're outside. So we've already talked about, atmospheric problems, when, environmental problems, whenever you're doing exterior shooting, especially with, dirt roads and things like that, because of just you get particulate and all that stuff in the air, and then all of a sudden you're capturing weird light and all this stuff. So they had a lot going on that they had to kind of get ready for this, in addition to this massive kind of like brawl they had during the Red Hour. But it did a really good job in my mind of establishing kind of the stakes for the episode. Good stuff. And again, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know the actors' names, but the one guy, the triad that was killed, I know that he was the illusory Telosian representation of the missing craft in the cage. He was the leader of the kind of survivors from the cage. And, he obviously disappeared as soon as that ruse was over, but that was the actor that portrayed them. And I'm fairly certain that the actor that betrayed them and brought in the pipe wielding guys initially was the head Telosian. I'm pretty sure that was the head. The face looked right. I might be wrong, but, it might have been a different voice. I'm not sure, but the face definitely looked right. I'm not sure, but I think it'd be really cool if the two from the cage came back and had a kind of a symbiotic, casting there with the two of them getting to work together, even though they really technically didn't work together in the cage. But, having them both there was pretty neat. Now, the major thing I wanted to talk about, and we didn't really have too many, we had some good Kirk moments, and we had some good, Bones was able to kind of stretch his chops a little bit there and have some fun with the euphoria. I really loved how initially everything was like, you be from the valley, I be from the valley. I thought that was really great. It's like a way to kind of give them their own vernacular. And for a moment there with like the Red Hour and things that they were putting in there, it sounded like one of the kind of like hybrid languages from like Fury Road or something. Just, I mentioned it, but I thought it also shows a dedication to having things slightly off, which when you have language that's slightly off, and the sentence structure is not constructed the way that you thought it would be, that in and of itself is off-putting for the audience. Not off-putting negatively, but it keeps us off balance because we're in this world with Red Hour tension. Things they look like we should know what's going on, but it doesn't sound right. So that gives us, a reason for alarm and things like that. Really good stuff. It's all devices just to make us less comfortable with our surrounding. The thing I really wanted to talk about though was, and it was made to be observed, and it was made to be noted, that whenever they took out the robed guys downstairs, Spock punches and knocks out his person that he's attacking. And Kirk makes a mention of saying that's old fashioned. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe they don't have the Vulcan neck pinch yet, the nerve pinch. But then just moments later, he uses it again to nerve pinch. And so, okay, so what do we take from that? Well, we take from it that Spock had, he had a decision. This attacker, do I just reach in and nerve pinch and drop him? Or do I go with option B, which is haymaker to knock him out? And though they really haven't specifically talked about it in the original series, we know from lore, or at least I know from lore, that Vulcans have superior strength to humans. So this punch coming in probably did. I can't say that it like broke his jaw or something like that, but it could have easily. Spock is powerful as hell. So the creatives wanted us to, or Leonard Nimoy or someone made a decision to have Spock throw the punch. Cool, that's awesome. I appreciate it for this reason. You make a decision on the creative side for Spock to throw a punch instead of going in for the pinch. But with the character, what does that mean? So really, probably Nimoy would be the only one that could answer that. What would cause Spock to throw a punch instead of going with the more traditional Vulcan method of neutralizing somebody? So that kind of violent outburst in a way, that he had a more passive way of taking them out, but he chose violence. You can argue that that's a mistake, that canonically that wouldn't have occurred, that's like an anachronistic, type of problem to come in there, that it's something that they shouldn't have, not in conjunction with the pinch. If it happened before the pinch was made up, then okay, sure. But because it happened at the same time in the same breath as the pinch being something that was on the table as a selection, then that says something about Spock that I love, because that means Spock chose brutality for just a moment. Spock said, you know what? I'm going to knock this fucker out, and did. And so whether it's meant or not, the way I see it is that while Spock is constantly trying to tell us and reinforcing his alien Vulcan heritage, and Bones is constantly trying to say, oh, you green-blooded, cold-blooded computer. We even had Kirk in this episode say, you'd make a great computer. Oh, thank you. You're too kind. They go out of their way to say, oh, Spock this, Spock that, Spock's a Vulcan. Spock is half Vulcan. And the other half is us. Super flawed, super emotional, susceptible to chaos and violent tendencies. And so whether or not it was meant, what I'm taking away from that is, and I like this, is that was just a brief bubbling up of Spock's humanity. I'm going to punch this fucker. Crack. You know what I mean? And then back into Spock. Moments later, the pinch. Ooh. If other Vulcans had been around, and again, I don't think that canonically or lore-wise this has been established enough for it to happen right now during our watch of the original series, but I think that if other Vulcans had been present, and again, bringing the lore up to, what we know kind of now, or what I know kind of now, which is obviously little, I think that if they saw Spock punch, that a Vulcan would be like, whoa, what is wrong with you? Like, that would be an incredible break in character for that punch to go through. Now, defending yourself's one thing, but defending yourself with that level of aggression, ooh, I love that, my friends. Anywho, Return of the Archons was a very good episode. Let's see what else we can learn about it. Because now, first, if you do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. You'll be alerted next time we go live with anything Star Trek, the original series, Lower Decks, any of our sci-fi offerings. And of course, if you'd like those early or in their full-length format, the link to the Patreons in the description. But my friends, all that is then and this is now. And now we need to learn a little bit more about this episode. Especially, I think I would like to look in. Joseph Pevney was in on this one, but I have a couple questions. Was that Ted Cassidy's voice? And were those the two actors that were also in the cage? The only person that can answer that for us is Q. Q? Greetings, mon capitains, and welcome to another installment of Q&A. My friends, this is where, after having watched and reacted to an original series episode, I go back and find a couple little tidbits and trivia questions that would have spoiled it for me had I figured it out or looked it up before having watched and reacted. And of course, I don't know any of these things, so I'm sharing them with you, and if any of these ping or is something that you didn't know, then Q and I have done our jobs. My friends, we have 5 distinct categories that we go through just to kind of flesh out and give a little bit of backstory to the behind the scenes work that was going on Return of the Archons. And so, what are those 5 categories? They are as follows, my friends. Who were our writer and director? Guest stars, how many did we have and who were they? 3 of our core cast, which is the big 6 right now of Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Uhura, Sulu, and Scotty, who was present? And then, of course, we have number 4, production notes, and 5 is our memorable quotes and any syndication cuts if they are made available. But my friends, let's get started. So, my friends, who was the writer and who was the director for Return of the Archons? The writer, none other than Gene Roddenberry, assisted by Boris Sobelman, who came in to help kind of clean up the teleplay at the end, right before filming. And our director was Joseph Pevney, who we just recently saw in Arena and will see again as a director in another classic episode of Trek. I don't want to spoil anything. A little note about this actual script. I had kind of speculated that maybe because I saw numerous writers, I saw Boris Sobelman, Gene L. Kuhn was in there, and Gene Roddenberry, that this was maybe one of the ones plagued by rewrites. And I also said that if it was plagued by rewrites, this was the one that fared the best because I didn't think it was, anytime I see multiple names, I always think it's rewrites. But in this case, I couldn't have been farther from the truth because this one was actually one of the original scripts that was in contention for the original pilot that became The Cage. So it was around for quite some time. In fact, written 2 years before it was even brought back out of mothballs to be developed for an episode. And when it was brought back out, Gene Roddenberry was kind of too involved and with everything else to kind of bring it back up to speed or get it punched up. So he handed that off to Boris Sobelman and Gene L. Kuhn, who got it ready for the script version that was handed out to the actors. All right, my friends, for guest stars for Return of the Archons, who did we have? Let's just stick with, we had a lot of kind of extras that were thrown in, but I'm going to stick with just our big 3 that were part of the triad, the kind of the resistance triad there. Rager was played by Harry Towns, Marplon was played by Torrin Thatcher, and let me see, Tamar was played by John Lormer. So John Lormer was actually the guy from The Cage who was the kind of eerie representation of, the false illusory survivor of the crash, who was the spokesperson for the group that was down there next to Vina. And I thought and speculated that the other gentleman that played Haycom, Morgan Farley was actually one of the Telosians. I was incorrect. But I swear that chin looked like the head Telosian, and it threw me. So, but anywho, those are our main people that we had involved in this. And of course, Landry was played by Charles McCauley. Charles McCauley would later go on to try to thwart the Ghostbusters in 1980s New York. That's not true. He certainly looked like the guy that played the museum artist or whatever that was worshiping Vigo. But that was Landry, everybody, and those were our guest stars. Now, section number 3, the core cast, our big 6. Who was there? Great news, everybody. All hands present and accounted for. We had our full allotment of crew members, or at least named crew members. Plus, we had a lot of extra people as part of the shore party. So good news. We had them all. And now, my friends, for our 4th section, a couple production notes that we had in here. As I mentioned before, this was actually one of the scripts that was up for the possible development for the pilot, the original pilot that later became The Cage. It was then mothballed a bit, but whenever they needed, more scripts to come out, especially for season 1, when everything got greenlit, this was one of the ones they brought back out, and as I said, Gene Roddenberry, who wrote it originally, handed it off to Boris Sobelman and Gene L. Kuhn to punch up and kind of make sure that everything was up to par for an actual script production, and that, continuity things were taken care of, and character kind of establishments were made, lines were changed, things like that, to make it more fitting to what we've seen so far. A couple other interesting things on this one. This one was actually shot in the same location where they filmed Miri, which, if you look at it, it absolutely seems that way. This was the one that they had dressed up to be more of a modern-esque feel to it, whenever they had like the 1940s kind of portrayed. And this one had more of even at an earlier time. But again, all of these lots were predominantly used for Westerns back in the day, or at least they were, heavily co-opted for Western use. And you get to see a little bit of elements of that a lot of times in kind of the back sub-streets that they don't necessarily use. Now, the red hour that they brought up, the festival that, to my knowledge, looks like it lasted about 12 hours, this was never really defined as something. Does it happen every day? What exactly is it? There was parts of the script that were kind of cut out or condensed that removed any explanation of the red hour. But what we found out from the original script that was written by Roddenberry, the red hour was a festival that came about once a year. And I think it had, a couple of the notes that weren't necessarily canon in my research, but a lot of it did have that kind of purge quality to it. This was the moment where Landru allowed everybody to kind of vent emotion, to kind of like let the steam off the kettle, so they'd be kind of reset as willing drones for the next year. Now, one of my favorite parts in this episode was whenever we had the reaction shots to all the people that were enjoying the festival. Well, the person that jumps through the window and yells out, "Festival, festival," was a gentleman by the name of Bobby Clark. And Bobby Clark apparently did quite a bit of stunt work for the original series, but he only ever had the ability, or only have had the opportunity, to speak one line in his entire involvement in the original series. And that line, "Festival, festival." And finally, my friends, how was this received, both by the cast and by the audience at large? It was generally well received by the audience, and as far as the casts, or more appropriately, the creatives, are concerned, Gene Roddenberry actually added Return of the Archons as one of his top 10 all-time favorite episodes. Now, I'm not going to say anything about that. I should add this, that a lot of people speculated that Return of the Archons was added to his top 10 list for the 25th anniversary because he wrote it. So, and again, obviously it's his darling. He wrote it and he loved it, but I think the kind of the hints or the assumptions that were to be made by some of these people were, it wouldn't have made it if it was written by somebody else. But again, it's Gene Roddenberry, and he can make anything on that top 10 list that he wants. And finally, my friends, memorable quotes from this episode. There was one that stood out that I liked quite a bit, and it's again an exchange between our beloved Captain Kirk and our magnificent science officer Spock. Spock says, "I prefer the concrete, the graspable, the provable." And Kirk says, "You'd make a splendid computer, Mr. Spock." And Spock says, "That is very kind of you, Captain." I always love it. The insults that fall flat by both Bones and Kirk. I think Kirk's more tongue-in-cheek. Bones is absolutely going for the insult. But, my friends, thus ends another installment of Q&A. Until we meet again, behave.